Hello, and welcome to the first episode of Satisfactory Let's Play. Satisfactory, currently in early access, is an amazing base builder in which your character is dropped onto a lush planet rich in natural resources and is tasked with constructing a factory from the ground up. The game has many similarities to Factorio, but is played in the first person and with 3D graphics that are well beyond merely satisfactory. In this series, I'll be starting from the very beginning and explaining all of the core mechanics and any tips and tricks I picked up in my hundreds of hours of factory building. The eventual goal is to have a huge factory efficiently producing everything the game has to offer. That's a job of epic proportions, and I welcome you all along for the ride. Feel free to post in the comments with any questions you have, and I'll do my best to answer in subsequent episodes. So without further ado, let's play Satisfactory. Each time you begin a game of Satisfactory, you get the option of 3 starting locations. Each is a different biome: the grass fields, the rocky desert, and the northern forest. It's important to note that each of these locations exists in the same world. So every time you start a new game of Satisfactory, the world that's generated is exactly the same as the last time, but you can choose to start in a different location. And these locations have various advantages or disadvantages, mainly in the abundance or scarcity of nearby resources. I'm going to choose to start in the grass fields just to really showcase the vibrancy this game has to offer. So we'll enter a name. And under session type, if it's selected to private, you can select friends only and have up to 3 of your friends join you. Super fun playing this game with other people. To open, there's a short video. It's like a tiny little instructional tutorial that plays while we're being dropped to the planet in this little personal escape pod.
Attention Pioneer. The following instructional video is a summary of your impending duties as an exoplanetary pioneer for Fixit Incorporated. Fixit Pioneers have 3 cyclical assigned pillars of work to ultimately accomplish project assembly. Use provided blueprints to build the necessary buildings. Chart the planet and gather resources to provide desired results and improve your infrastructure. Make sure to report any unusual discoveries to R&D for analysis. Expand your factories, outposts, and pipelines through automation and augmentation. That's it. Get to work and be effective. Warning, planetfall imminent. Please remain seated during full procedure.
This opening sequence is pretty great.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Planetfall procedure initialized.
Fixit is the name of the company your character works for. It's not really clear if your character is a human or humanoid or android, drone. They don't eat, but they do lose health, and they replenish their health through like medicinal inhalers and berries, so it has to be something living. Even though you can breathe underwater indefinitely, you don't need sleep, food. So we've touched down, and now we're going to exit our escape pod.
Please ensure the integrity of your multi-purpose exploration suit is at 100%. Remember, efficiency first. Godspeed.
So the drop location varies a little bit within your starting biome each
Welcome
time.
to Planet Massage 2 ABB, your designated sector in the binary star system of Akicha. I am Ada, also known as Artificial Directory and Assistant, tasked to support pioneers, such as you, in their mission. You are the third of your sector to survive planetfall. Congratulations. Note: objective-based introduction initialized. Welcome to onboarding. First objective: please dismantle the drop pod. The resulting materials will be repurposed to construct a habitat and utility base, from now on referred to as the hub. Note: Fixit Incorporated is cost-effective and efficient. We do not waste.
So any building or vehicle you construct in Satisfactory can be deconstructed by hitting the F key, highlighting it with your mouse, and then holding the left button to deconstruct it. And when you deconstruct something, you're fully reimbursed with any of the components you put into constructing that building or vehicle originally.
Before leaving the drop zone. Note: according to Fixit regulations, every pioneer should have access to a means of defense against extraterrestrial threats.
So we'll hit tab. This is the hub parts. That's the drop pad we just deconstructed. This is our Xeno Zapper. We'll put it into our hands. It's the first tool we have to defend ourselves against the local fauna.
Third objective: please familiarize yourself with the resource scanner to find iron. Note: the acquisition of iron is considered essential in preparation for all future objectives.
So the first step in this game is finding a good spot to construct your hub. Your hub is like your base of operations. That's where you will research all future technology upgrades, do your initial constructing of parts, refining them
This
from
consumable
ore
possesses minor
into
healing properties.
ingots
Further
and plates.
analysis required to establish object scanner identification.
It's also important while you're doing this to collect all of the wood and leaves you can in the early game. Wood and leaves are your primary source of fuel to burn to power your factory. You just collect it by rapidly hitting the E button as quickly as you can while you have it highlighted with your cursor. These pale berries, you'll want to collect them too. They can be consumed to restore your health when you inevitably lose some. Your health is in the lower left corner there. These barrel nuts are another source of health renewal.
Further analysis required to establish object scanner identification.
So in searching for a good spot to put down your hub and start your base, the main criteria is the availability of resources, especially iron, copper, and limestone for the early game. This is an outcropping of limestone, but you can't automate the collection of limestone from these outcroppings. You need to find a node. And to do that, you've got an object scanner. You begin up by hitting the C key. Right now, we only have access to scanning for iron. But if we do that, we scan for iron. You can see the ways traveling out there. It'll ping all of the nearby nodes of iron that we can collect. And you can collect from these outcroppings just by holding down the E key, similar to collecting leaves and wood. Now, the nodes come in 3 different qualities: impure, normal, and pure. You can extract resources or ore or oil from a normal node at twice the rate as an impure node, and from a pure node at twice the rate as a normal node. So taking the time to find a nice group of pure nodes before you plop down your hub, it can save you a lot of time in the mid game. As the farther away your base is, your factory, your hub, from the resources, the more time and materials you're going to devote to transporting those resources from the nodes to your base. first aggressive animals. These are pretty easy. They like to circle you, and then they charge. You just want to avoid the charges. Hitting left click with your Xeno Zapper will zap it. You can zap it twice in a row before there's a small cooldown. You have to hit these only 3 or 4 times
Studying
to
the
defeat them
remains of
with the
this
Xeno Zapper.
creature might shed light on how to defend yourself in the future. I recommend analysis.
Then they'll each drop a animal carcass that you can collect for later research, and there will be a purpose you can put them to.
This semi-slug seems to emit weak potential energy from its crystalline shell.
Just a good rule of thumb when you're exploring the world is anything that you can collect, pick it up. Eventually you'll be able to analyze it in your hub and probably unlock some new tech from that. Absolutely pick up any healing
This consumable possesses minor
consumables
healing
that you find.
properties. Further analysis required to establish
You
object
can't
pattern
automate the collection
identification.
of healing consumables, and you're always going to need them. This world is full of dangerous fauna. And while you do get better tools for defeating them, at the present there's no form of armor or hit point increasing equipment that you can craft. Those will knock you off from a high point if you're not careful. This is Mercer Sphere. Right now there is no use for it in the game, but it will be used eventually.
This spherical object emits gravitational radiation. Initial scans reveal an inner vein-like structure filled with liquid gallium. Purpose and origin unknown. Further analysis required to determine application.
I'm going to need a lot more leaves than I've been collecting. So the goal here is to find, looking for at least one pure iron node, preferably more than one. That I can use to jumpstart my base. There's a pure limestone used for concrete. You'll make a ton of concrete. Oh, this looks good. Those little circular pings will show up when you're nearby a node. They can help you find them. Looks like one node is underground. This world is very 3D. There are insanely high mountains and also equally deep caverns to explore. Alright, here we go. Pure iron. And first we have to defeat this little guardian. Without dying. Uh-oh. Alright, that was close. Pick up the organs, and let's replenish our health here. Opening the inventory with tab, dragging the berries into the inventory, and just left-clicking them to consume them. So we've found the spot where we want to start our base. I'm going to quickly clear some of the leaves away. So we've got one pure iron node here, and there's another one right over here. Also pure, excellent. This is a good spot to start. In planning your factory, obviously you want a piece of land that's relatively flat. Eventually we'll concrete over everything and it'll be completely flat. But until we get that set up, relatively flat is ideal. So I think we'll just start in this area here, this sandy area. We'll put our hub right down between these two nodes. The build a menu is brought up with Q. I guess we can't access that yet until we've manually harvested some iron.
Fourth objective, build the hub. Note, to complete this objective, the resources salvaged from the drop pod will be consumed. Caution, ensure the hub is built on spacious open terrain close to the presence of iron sources. Failure to do so will likely result in non-optimal progress.
Okay. So this is the first stage of the hub. You can deconstruct this and replace it later, and I'm sure we will. The goal is just to,
you have unlocked hub feature.
the initial goal is just to build basically a
terminal.
starter base that will help us unlock all of the technology, and then we'll ramp up our factory to a much larger scale to produce the items that we want, the end game items at a decent rate. So the first iteration of the hub, it's not a lot to it. It's basically a frame, right? This little console shows us the technology trees that we have to unlock here. Hub upgrade 1 gives us the craft bench, equipment workshop, the smelter, power lines, portable miner, xeno zapper, copper ingots, wire, cable, and the ability to scan for copper ore. And to unlock this, we just have to produce 10 iron rods. So we're going to select this. Turn around here. This is our craft bench that's included with the hub. Iron rods require 1 iron ingot to make. Iron ingots are crafted from 1 piece of iron ore. So we'll just turn all of this iron ore that we have currently into iron ingots. When you start, you have a fairly limited amount of inventory space. That will increase as you unlock more technologies. And then we'll turn 10 of those iron ingots into iron rods. Take them to the console, insert, and upgrade our hub. The hub has an upper framework now.
Congratulations, you have unlocked hub feature biomass generator, hub feature personal storage, scanner feature copper.
So we've got a biomass generator that's a power generator fueled by burning wood and leaves. We've got a little storage chest here that I'm going to put my alien parts into.
Buildings to a generator for power.
Power slug.
Note, buildings such as the smelter require a blueprint to be set. Advice, automate the smelting process and use portable miners for optimal results.
Okay, for the second upgrade, we need 10 iron plates, 10 iron rods, and 50 wire. Wire requires copper. Now we can scan for copper. With any luck. Oh, copper node. Very close. Excellent. Oh, it's got 2 defenders. I'll try to take those out carefully. Fighting these, you want to try to avoid the fireballs. I'm not doing a great job of it here. Pick up the organs. So they fire and then they have a cooldown. So if you attack them while they're on their cooldown, that's your best bet. Dodge the fire, then attack. Okay. Now let's mine a good bit of copper. We'll mine some iron. And then we're going to set up a equipment bench to make some portable miners. That'll speed this up a lot. It's crazy to think of the factory we're eventually going to have, starting with just this little chisel, picking away at ore in the ground by hand. Climbing back up. Your factory will be marked on your compass, your hub rather. So if you get lost, don't worry, you can just follow the compass back to your hub. And this world is pretty huge, so getting lost, it's gonna happen. Now let's get a little bit more iron. And then we'll see what we need to build the craft bench and our portable miners. Portable miners can do this a lot better than we can with our chisel, and we won't have to be here doing it. Portable miners also miraculously need no supply of power, so we don't have to worry about consuming our relatively small amount of leaves and wood just yet. So let's turn all these pieces of ore into ingots to start. You can hold down the craft button with your mouse or just hit the spacebar. One trick that you'll probably make use of a lot is just propping your cell phone down on the spacebar to crank out large amounts of these items at once while you get a drink or whatever else in the early stages of the game until you've really set up your automation. Alright, equipment bench only requires 6 iron plates and 6 iron rods. Easy enough. We'll set this up right to the side of our hub. Let's have it facing this way. Tree right in the middle, it's fine. Now we need to use the equipment workshop to make a few portable miners. I think 4 would be good to start. Each requires 4 iron plates, 8 wire, and 4 cables. You can add these to a to-do list by right-clicking and then left-clicking on Add to-do list. Then just boost it up to 4. That'll just give you a running track of what you need So first we'll turn the copper ingots into copper wire. You can go ahead and turn all of the ingots into wire, that's fine. There's no other product that you can make from ingots currently, or copper ingots rather. And then the wire is just turned directly into cable. So we'll turn a fair amount of our wire into cable. And now we'll continue turning our iron ingots into iron plates. Alright. Back to the equipment workshop, and now we'll make 6 portable miners. Sounds good. We've only got room for 5. Gotta go ahead and just destroy this ingot, make room for 6. Perfect. I'm gonna put 4 of them on the iron and 2 on copper. We'll need a lot more iron than copper. So we'll just, in the inventory, drop and drag your portable miner into your hands, and then left click it over the node to get it started. Do that with all 4. They just set themselves up. And they start mining out the ore. You can, when up to 1, hit the E button, and you can see that it's already, this one miner's already mined 45 ore. It's so quick. Now we'll run back to the copper node and do the same thing with the remaining 2 miners. This game looks so good. So, while those get started, let's work on upgrading Hub Tier 2. Keep collecting leaves, it's super important. You can see once they're full, they stop mining. You just hit the grab up button, and they'll resume once you've cleared their stockpile. Now we need 50 wire that we have already. Need to produce 10 iron plates, 10 iron rods. I'm going to store some of these leaves just to free up some inventory space. The game is just a little tedious in the early stages until you've got your initial machinery up that's doing this all in an automated way. So 10 iron plates, 10 iron rods. Insert them into the console. You can shift left click to move the entire stack. Shift left click and upgrade the hub. Alright. We've got some walls.
Congratulations, you have unlocked Scanner Stone. New buildings and blueprints, which can be found in the build menu and craft bench respectively. 7th objective, hub upgrade, conveyor belts. Note, use power poles to expand the power network for optimal results. Note, constructors are capable of constructing copious parts, of which only one type at a time.
Alright, we're going to start the first automated smelting here, so we're not continually going to our craft bench to convert ore to ingots. Hitting Q to bring up the build menu, go to smelter. Let's see, smelter requires 4 units of electricity. and to be built requires 5 iron rods and 8 copper wire. Let's start with just say 3 smelters. We'll put 2 for iron, 1 for copper. We can put that on our to-do list here. 1, 2, 3. So we can see that by the check marks we've got the required materials. Put them back here. Now smelters will require power. They each require 4 units of electricity. So we're going to have to make use of our biofuel burner, which means we're going to start burning through our small supply of gathered leaves and wood. You can just left click with shift to move the entire stack of leaves into the burner. The nice thing about all of the power plants in Factorio is that while they consume resources, they only consume at a rate that your factory is requiring power. So you can see that we still have the full 499 stacks because right now we're not drawing power out of the burner. So hitting 2 and then mousing over the burner, I can set up a power line, but in order to build this power pole we're missing concrete. So we've got to find a supply of limestone. Now let's just plan ahead a little bit here and go ahead and make 2 portable miners that we can use to collect that limestone for us. So we'll make our iron plates. Go over to the equipment workshop, make 2 portable miners, and then using our scanner to find the limestone. Not too far, excellent. This is a really good starting location. Pure, perfect. So in the early stages, you're just collecting ore from the portable miners and then taking it back, and we'll insert it into the smelters once they're up and running. But very quickly, we're going to replace these portable miners with a more permanent miner that's powered by electricity that we can use to transport the ore directly from the miner to the smelter via a conveyor belt. So each unit of concrete requires 3 units of limestone. You'll use a lot of concrete, especially if you decide to build your base on a concrete platform, which is highly recommended. It looks so much more uniform and clean, and when you build on the concrete foundations, your buildings can snap onto a little grid, just so everything is perfectly aligned. These factories grow to such large sizes that if you're not constantly making the effort to keep things clean, that it'll just be a rat's nest of conveyor belts. I'm a little curious about where the 3rd iron node is, but we'll find it eventually. Okay, so back to the base, we're going to turn limestone into concrete. We're out of inventory space. our Xeno Zapper back into our hands. There we go. Now we're converting all of our limestone ore. It's not really ore. Our limestone into concrete. Good. Now we can set up the power for these smelters. 3. Good. Okay, so 2 will 2 is the hotkey that by default for power lines. Need copper wire still. It's no problem. Okay, small problem. Let's go get some copper. Let's convert the ore to ingots, then the ingots to wire. Copper ore to ingots is 1-to-1. You need 1 piece of ore for each ingot. So initially we're just, all of the upgrades are focused on the hub, the building we're standing in, just expanding its capabilities. It'll eventually give us a second biofuel burner. It'll give us a little research station, super important to unlocking tech later down the line. Okay, I need more wire. So each copper ingot produces 3 units of copper wire. Third time's the charm. We got our power pole up. The initial power poles have room for 4 connections. So we've got 1 connection leading from the burner to the power pole. Whenever you're building your base, it's usually just a good idea to put your power poles in little clusters like this. That way, each of these, or most of these, have 1 or 2 connections now, and you're not running out of available connections for power poles when you need them. The wire that you use to actually connect the buildings from the power poles requires cable, and cable is made directly from copper wire. 2 copper wires will produce 1 cable. Okay. So now we've got a few power poles to draw from here. We can wire up these 3 smelters. That mouse you know, you can see that this power pole still has 2 available connections, while the one nearest to us, all 4 of the connections have been utilized. So over at the smelter, we'll just select what the recipe that we want to use. We're going to have 2 of these on iron ingots and 1 on copper. And then we can just insert our copper ore here, and it will automatically turn them into copper ingots. No more slaving away at the craft bench doing this by hand. And now that we have machines actually actively drawing power, we can go back to the biomass burner and see that our supply of leaves is rapidly decreasing. Each biomass burner is only capable of producing 20 megawatts of electricity. And right now, as we know that each of these 3 smelters requires 4 each, that's a significant dent in our total power output. Excuse me. Next on the agenda is Hub Upgrade 3. Hub Upgrade 2, also, I guess we should note that gave us 2 additional inventory slots. Those are always good. Constructors, that's the first tier of machines that can turn the ingots into basic components like iron rods, copper wire. Constructors, they have 1 input slot, so they can construct anything that can be made from a single ingredient. We also gained access to biomass, which is important, and we should make use of that now. Let's withdraw our leaves here and take them to the craft bench and turn them into biomass. Biomass has a higher fuel rating, so we'll get more bang for our buck if we turn all of our leaves into biomass at this stage. Anything to increase the fuel value of your consumables is usually a good idea. It'll just mean less time spent gathering leaves and wood, and that's highly desirable. Alright. Back to the burner, insert our biomass. And you can see it burns at a much slower rate than the leaves are being consumed. Although the total output is still limited to 20 megawatts. Yeah. Each leaf is being consumed at 1 every 0.8 seconds, whereas the biomass is 1 biomass every 6 seconds. That's under a full load of 20 megawatts being drawn from the burner. A partial load would mean that the consumable will be burned at a slower rate. So, Hub Upgrade 3. Another inventory slots, some conveyor belts, gonna use a lot of those. Foundations, that's the platform that I was talking about that's made with concrete. Walls, and biomass from wood, I believe. So this one is a much more costly upgrade. We need 10 concrete, we've got that, no problem. But we need 75 iron plates, 10 cables, which we have, and 2 reinforced iron plates, which is like a tier 2, or like a more complex component than iron plates or iron rods. To make a reinforced iron plate, you need 4 iron plates and 24 screws. So we have to first turn iron rods into screws, and then combine the screws with iron plates. Assuming we had in the inventory room. And we can insert those into the hub, and we just need our 75 iron plates. So we'll go to our smelter here, pull out the ingots we made. and turn the ingots into the iron plates. Insert them to the console, and we've upgraded our hub to tier 3.
Congratulations! You have unlocked new buildings and blueprints, which can be found in the build menu and craft bench respectively.
That gave us a few
Eighth
bunk
objective,
beds,
hub upgrade, additional
some
power.
facilities,
Advice. When
and
planning
some
the construction
LCD
of
screens.
buildings, note the placement of conveyor belts. Caution. Overloading the power network guarantees suboptimal performance.
Let's see what we need for the next upgrade. 100 iron plates, 75 rods, 20 pieces of concrete, which we have, and 20 cables, which we can have. Now to produce the iron rods and the iron plates, I think we're going to build 2 constructors. Just get that automated. One less thing to worry about here. So using Q to open the build menu, we'll queue up 2 constructors. We need 6 reinforced plates and 4 cables for 2. Let's see what we've got here. Cables, no problem. We're going to turn some of these ingots into screws. What are we missing here? Another iron plate. We're going to need more ingots. Excellent. Which one is 24? So we'll need 48 screws. Okay. Now, ideally, we'd have our chainsaw to chop these trees down, but it's not available to us yet. So we'll just do the best we can here. One of these will be producing iron rods, the other iron plates. They also require 4 megawatts, so between these 5 machines we'll be consuming the full 20 megawatts that we have so far, that we're reducing with our 1 biomass burner. Now to link these up, we go to logistics and select conveyor belts. The first tier of conveyor belts, super easy to make. Each section just requires 1 iron plate. Let's go ahead and reload these smelters from our portable miners. Let's go ahead and craft some iron plates to use for our conveyor belts. Now we just left click the output of our smelter and connect it to the input of the constructor, and the iron ingots will start flowing. Do the same over here. Well, this is going to be an issue. Let's deconstruct our equipment bench here temporarily. There we go. Again, these need power, so we'll have to connect them. Do you have any cable? Let's quickly bust out some cable. And then we'll just select power pole and connect them up to our power network. And you can tell by the green LED rod at the top there that they are producing material functionally. This one will produce 15 iron rods per minute. This one is producing 15 iron plates per minute. And as long as we keep the smelters fed with ore, they'll keep producing until their inventory is full. I think that's a great place to wrap up the first episode. So thanks for watching. I hope you developed a little bit of a thirst for this game. It's really underappreciated. If you like the video, please like it in the channel, and I'll see you next time.